killing time.
It's gorgeous here, and it's I feel kind of bad because I know some of my friends are still trying to tough it out back home, and also some have already lost their homes, and so yeah, it's kind of a tough time, but I'm really grateful that we were able to book it out and hang out with everybody. Tonight's topic, anxiety, is pretty apropos, I would say. It's funny too because when I was putting this program together, um, I I was thinking like, oh, I'm not that anxious, and this was before all the fires broke out. And like last night, we started smelling smoke in our house and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I'm anxious now. I am actually anxious. So anyway, I'm a little lo-fi today because we're on the move. So let me know if you all can hear me a-okay. I normally have like the ear pods in and stuff like that. We're normally doing but we normally have background music, right? But tonight, well, actually, since I'm like
by the
actually
ocean.
by the ocean, I
Yeah.
figured some nice waves would be calming, relaxing for everybody to get over that anxiety hump.
These all the people.
Yeah. So who do
What's
we
up,
got
Kathy, Felicia, Nahal,
here?
Charlenia,
Yeah,
Deidre,
giving the shout outs.
Annie? I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right, but
That's me every time. I'm always so worried I'm not saying everybody's name correctly. Everyone has just such cool, unique names here. But what's up, Felicia? Nahal's in the house. Yeah, we are okay. Fortunately, I have some buddies who have lost their homes. Fortunately, we have not as of now. So yeah, we're safe. We're safe, and blessed to be somewhere where we can breathe. Nice, clean, good air, and
yeah, it really happened overnight though. So you definitely have to understand what risks are around you and just be prepared, and also just like be have a support system. Thankfully, I'm here because Gallner and his girlfriend were generous enough to drive me to stay with them. So appreciative of that.
so I'm seeing some reports that our video is freezing. So that's probably just because we're on like an Airbnb Wi-Fi. So I really apologize for the fidelity of the connection tonight, you guys. So if I cut out, my apologies. As you know, these programs live inside of the app indefinitely. So feel free to jump in there. This one lives in the Inner Peace Blueprint section of the app, and you can always revisit these prompts whenever you like. Looks like we've got all right. We got an okay number of people here. We'll wait until 5 after to officially get the party started. But I'm excited. It's been too long since I got to hang out with everybody. So yeah. Oh, thanks for all the well wishes, everybody. Yeah, and if any of you and yours, or I'm sorry, if any of yours, also if any of you guys are from LA, I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's all right, and if anybody of your loved ones are there, definitely check up on everybody. It's getting kind of nutty over there, so we'll keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers and everything like that, and we'll do what we can. This is I don't know. We were packing up to leave today, and it's so tempting to like spiral out of control because it's such like an intense situation. But really, all you can do is what the moment in front of you presents itself with, and obviously you want to have planning wherever possible. But in moments like these, we really didn't have a whole lot of time to plan. So fortunately, we made it out. We're safe. And we're gonna get into some journaling. right about now. It's 5 after. All right, so yeah, welcome everybody. Do we have any newbies in the house? Let me know. So for the new folks, this is Journal Party Live. Welcome. This is something we do every Wednesday night, usually at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we basically just journal through the newer programs inside of the app. If you're not familiar with the app yet, you should download it if you get a chance. Actually, we changed the color of the icon. We got a fresh orange theme going for 2025. But you scan that QR code or just go into the Apple App Store or Google Play. You can search for Journal Party and you can get the app. And you can not only access these programs whenever you want, but you can also access Journal Party Live through the app, which is pretty cool. So yeah, lots of well, we got some.
Letha's new.
Letha's new. Okay, cool. Well, so hopefully you heard some of that. What you're seeing on your screen right now is the app, and so this is what we call a Power Prompt playlist, and it's kind of like a regular playlist you might see in your music apps, except for instead of tracks, we do prompts, and so each one of these represents a prompt, and there will be a timer associated along with some player controls. I'll be managing the player controls and streaming this, so you guys don't need the app to do this with us this evening, but it's definitely something that's cool to have. But anyway, the way it'll work is I'll hit the start now button. The first prompt will pop up. I'll read it. I'll kind of disappear into the background, let the timer run, and then when the next prompt comes, I'll read that, and so on and so forth until we're done. And then at the end, we all usually just hang out and catch up with each other. We have a lot of regulars at this point, and so it's kind of a fun little tribe we've got going. And it's your space. So typically, what we ask for is any sharing that you feel comfortable with. We never ask you to share what you wrote down, but if you gained any insights, which is common during these sessions, it's always cool to share those with the community and kind of riff off of each other's collective wisdom. And then, as a community, it's also nice just to be there for each other. So if anybody needs support in anything, or if anybody needs or if anybody just wants to celebrate something, like that's my favorite, is when somebody has a game to report or something like that, and we can all cheer each other on. And tonight I'm just happy to be alive and breathing clean air. So I think I'll take that as a win, and I think it's about time to get this party started. So I'm gonna hit the start now button, and we'll get into it. Go ahead and open up your journal, and when I read the prompt, just start writing. Don't worry too much about what you're writing. There's no wrong way to do this. All right, so first prompt is, hello, anxiety. If your anxiety could speak kindly to you right now, what would it say it's trying to protect you from? Just start writing. All right. Next prompt, physical story. Where in your body do you feel anxiety most strongly today? Describe this sensation as if you're telling a friend about it. All right, Ryan's going to read the next one for us.
Hello, it's me, your guest journaler this evening. So the next prompt is think of a recent moment when anxiety showed up. What might it have been trying to tell you about what matters to you?
Safe space. What's one small thing that helps you feel more grounded when worry shows up? Write about how it helps. Next prompt. Past peace. Remember a time you moved through anxiety. What helped you in that moment that you could use today? Next prompt. Kind words. Write what you'd say to a friend feeling exactly what you're feeling right now. Then read it back to yourself. Next prompt. Tomorrow's tale. How might this current worry be preparing you for something important? What might it be teaching you? Inner power. What's one way you've been braver than your anxiety wanted you to be recently? Truth seeker. What's one anxious thought you're ready to question? Write down what's actually true right now. Next step. What's one tiny step you could take today to work with your anxiety rather than against it? All right, everybody. Nice work. Hopefully, I'm assuming you did nice work there. Feel free to finish whatever thought you had in your notebooks, and when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Everybody, take a nice deep breath. Feel what it's like to be here in your body in this moment. I needed that. All right. So, for those of you who are new, if we still have any of you left on the stream, um, this is typically where we think back to what we were just reflecting on and we share any insights with the community. Those insights, as I mentioned at the top of this, you can also share anything that you'd like to um, just share or anything that you need support with. And we've got a wonderful community here that can all chime in and we can all benefit from everybody's collective wisdom here. So I see some of you guys are already typing some stuff in. That's awesome. Um, this one was interesting for me here. I think, a lot of my anxiety today was just around making sure we got out of Dodge, just to, get out of Los Angeles and be safe. And I think a lot of that anxiety sort of melted away once I started seeing that I was, in fact, safe. And that was helpful for me on the truth seeker prompt because I was, trying to acknowledge what was true. And the truth of my current situation is that I am safe and I have my loved ones with me and I have everything that I need to get through this. And there were some other anxieties that I explored with this as well. And, you know, one of the things that jumped out at me actually in the previous prompt from that one, Tomorrow's Tale, what is it teaching me? And actually, just I thought, well, it's teaching me that it's tomorrow's tale. Like I'm anxious or worried about something that hasn't happened yet. There's a great Mark Twain quote about that. If someone could pull it up, that'd be awesome. But I think it has to do with worrying about a lot of things, many of them which never happened, and that was sort of a thing that jumped out at me is that a lot of my worries haven't happened yet, and maybe that's what some of the anxiety is trying to tell me, and that, and also dwelling in that um, is no good. I think anxiety can only ever come up in the present, and that's the only place that you can actually do something about it. So I think it's incumbent upon us to decide if there's anything to be done, and then have hopefully have the wherewithal to do it, have the will to do something about it. Otherwise, it really doesn't serve you to dwell in it. And actually, I think we had some. We have some questions here, or some questions earlier about like, well, what can you do other than just like steamroll through it? And first off, I'm guilty as charged with that. I sometimes try to um, just brute force my way through my anxieties, and um, that's sometimes it works, and so I think that's why I continue to do it sometimes. But really, really, I think there's so many tools that we have at our disposal, and so I actually took some time to write down at least what's been helpful for me, and I'm actually curious to hear what you all have to say about this as well. So, I mean, in terms of coping ideas with anxiety, things that have worked for me are affirmation. So hopefully you guys all kind of have an idea about what affirmations are, and these are, I mean, an affirmation is literally an affirmation, an affirmative statement, hopefully that's positive about yourself, or your situation. And I've also heard that taught as like incantations. I think that was like a Tony Robbins thing or something like that. But the idea is behind that is kind of take it one step further. I mean, because you can repeat something to yourself all day long, but if you don't actually believe it, it's not really going to do anything for you. And so I think what we're really trying to do is get rid of that icky feeling and make it okay to just be inside of our own individual worlds here. And so the idea of an incantation. You know, Version of an affirmation is to really try to get into your body and feel it, like get your I think that add some physicality to it. Psych yourself up. That can definitely help. I mean, that can help you kind of brute force your way through it, I suppose, or to let it go. Right? I mean, you can affirm that you're safe, that you have everything that you need, that you're resourceful. So there's all sorts of different ways. I'll leave it up to you what you think the useful affirmations would be for yourself. But in addition to like the "I can do it" type of stuff, sometimes it's good to just affirm that you're okay in there and that you're bigger than these problems. Or if you have faith that that your creator, or whatever you believe in, is bigger than these problems, and so there, by virtue of that, you have everything that you need to handle it. Another thing that's been really useful for me is breath work. And so, you know, I've had a breathwork expert on here with us before. Maybe I'll see if I can get him back. But I just do some really simple, deep breathing exercises. But also look up box breathing if you've never heard of it. The idea is you kind of visualize a box. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds. You hold it for 4 seconds, and so you see. I kind of like visualize a box as you do that, and that's been something that's really helped me kind of calm my nerves. I think that's like a lot of what anxiety is. Like your thoughts just start revving up your nervous system in all the wrong ways, and then you're not able to function correctly. You're not able to use all of your mental faculties in a way that really serve you. So check out that one. Another good little breath work technique would be gosh, I don't even know what this one's actually called, but I think I've heard it called a few different things. But the idea is you cover one nostril. It's like alternate nostril breathing or something like that. But you exhale and you breathe in through one nostril and out, and then you switch and obviously when I kind of rushed that to get through that explanation, but you want to give yourself the time to do that. And there's something special about the alternate nostril breathing. I think that's like a Zen or some sort of practice, but it works. I don't always buy into all of, like the lore behind like some of these techniques. I usually just try them on for size and see what works for me. So no belief required for any of this stuff, right? I think it's just try things out, see what works for you. Another thing that is really useful for me when I'm really in a funk or really need to gather my wits is meditation. Personally, I have a practice that I do. It's a mantra meditation, so I do 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. But there's all sorts of great meditations out there. There's guided meditations. Um, Maybe we can look at putting together some guided meditation for everybody. I have all the audio equipment in the wherewithal to do that. So think about trying to do something like that for us. Actually, star that in my little book here. And then the other thing that I wrote down here is to write it all down. And I see someone else said that in here. Katie said, "Yeah, journaling helps me." Totally. There is power to getting a little bit of distance between you and your thoughts. And for me, a lot of my anxiety comes up when there's just too much swimming around up there. And I know that I advocate for prompts a lot, but sometimes it's just helpful to do like a brain dump. Just sit down, set a timer if you want, and just write it all down. Write it all down. That's sort of the idea behind morning pages. If anyone's familiar with that practice, and I do that every morning, and I just write 3 pages stream of consciousness. And I'll be honest, you can probably see it. I'm not 40 yet, but I've got some serious worry lines in my forehead because I've always been kind of prone to worry and anxiety, and it usually starts right when I wake up. I mean, some of that's because of my own doing, where I'll check my phone or check my emails and see the stuff that I got to deal with, and it invades my headspace before I'm really ready to get going. So with that, it's really useful to do things like meditation or do things like morning pages, where you actually start to write things down. And in the case of morning pages, when for me, I I find that like the first couple pages are like really not all there, and part of it's you don't judge what you're writing. So it's just a lot of head garbage, as I like to call it. And then what I find is that once I get all that out, um, a different part of me shows up and starts to put it into context for myself. Like I'm able to organize all of those thoughts a little bit better, and then everything sort of fits in its right place. That's not to say that things aren't stressful. There's you know we live in a physical world where there is going to be physics that happen, and unfortunately those physics have the power to move us in ways that aren't always super comfortable. And so it's really helpful just to be able to actually do your mind the favor of it's kind of like refreshing your your RAM on your computer, or closing all the browser windows, right? If you got too many open, things start slowing down, stuff doesn't work correctly. And I think your mind's kind of like that. And whereas once you kind of get it all out there, everything gets filed away in its right place, then you what you find is that you actually have a very powerful processing machine inside your head, your brain, and your mind. And sometimes if left to its own devices, your mind can be a jerk to you. Mine is often a jerk to me. But what I find is that when I do engage in some of these practices, that like I said, a different part of me sort of shows up, and then I'm able to operate in that space for at least a decent amount of time. And so that's why I definitely recommend these practices in the morning, because momentum is another big thing here. Like anxiety can spin out of control if you let it. And so to start the day off by kind of putting everything into perspective is really powerful. And then the other thing I wrote down here were some things not to do, and this is just And these are things that I do for the record, and I just recognize that they do not necessarily serve me, and so I'm gonna try to be a little bit better about not doing them. One is over caffeinating, and that just it sends a shock to your nervous system, and we talked about our nervous systems already, so hopefully you get that. Skipping workouts is a big one for me. Like my mind, right? Talk about your mind being a jerk. My mind will do everything it can to convince me that I don't have to exert myself in the gym or whatever. I don't have to go. I need to work on this. This person's not satisfied with their journal order or whatever it is. And not to say that everybody isn't important. I don't want to serve people, but the reality is I'm not serving people my best if I'm not my best. And part of that for me is getting in touch with the physicality of actually working out. And I find that that's a great way to blow off steam and actually reduce a lot of the anxiety that comes up for me. And then the other thing not to do is working through too much fatigue, which I do all the time. I mean, I get bags under my eyes. It's usually, I would say this is probably from losing sleep last night with the fires going nuts around us. But I am prone to push through or to try to push through fatigue, and I think I'm getting better at learning that lesson for myself, but it still shows up. I still I think it's just a function of caring so much about what I put out there in the world, and so sometimes it feels like every little thing that pops up needs to be handled with like the utmost urgency and like a frantic energy. But the reality is I don't think anyone's served by that sort of energy, and so it's just something to be mindful of. All right, so that's my share. I see a ton of comments coming in, so I'm going to try to get through some of these here, and then I think we're gonna after this take a little load off it. We found a cantina down the street or something like that. I'm gonna get myself get myself a taco, maybe a beer, hang out. Been quite a day evacuating from Los Angeles, but let's see what we have here. Okay. Kathy said, my anxiety puts me in a negative headspace, so I've learned to slow down and relax my muscles by breathing deep and focusing on an immovable object. That's interesting. Focusing on an immovable object. That's kind of like what I do with my mantra stuff. I mean, although the mantra definitely changes in my head as I hear it, but yeah, just being able to like kind of call your attention back to something, that's a good exercise. Felicia, my resonating prompt tonight was number 4 on safe space. Interesting. So I'm curious to know if you're down to share what you actually do for that. Mine is meditation and prayer, as well as just remembering and counting my blessings. There's many, and it's easy for me to get into a diva mindset about things. And I remember that I'm quite privileged and lucky with my lot. So yeah, just remembering that is helpful. Surrey anxiety is an emotion like any other. Processes through our bodies quickly. Sit for 1 minute with it, then 2 minutes in a couple weeks. Try that, acknowledge it, and don't force it away. Yeah, and you know what this made me think of is just that saying, "This too shall pass." These things are going to come up. You're going to have. You're part of the human experience is, I think, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, and it doesn't sound like the most appetizing thing, right? But I think being aware that of just the ever changing nature of things and being able to kind of observe these things as they cross your awareness, whether they're disturbing thoughts or disturbing feelings, that's useful because you realize you're not those things, right? They're a part of your experience, but that doesn't mean like if you see a train car that's on fire, you don't have to get on that train and go go be doomed riding that ride, right? So I think it's much it's still disturbing, but I'd rather be watching that train rolling by than being the one riding it, right? Kathy says most of my anxiety shows up in my shoulders and my back, like the weight of the world is pushing me down. Interesting. Yeah, mine shows up in my belly. I get like this burn, just like like right under my solar plexus. It's this horrible burn. But what I've kind of learned is that that's like an opportunity to let something go. We have a ton of programs on letting go because I think that just the act of consciously letting things go is super powerful and leads to a lot of lightness. And I maybe should have put that in as a coping mechanism. But um, you know, I think like the the idea behind that, right, is just that you allow these things to come up. You allow them to because they're going to, or you can suppress them and you'll store them in your body, and then they'll come up later when somebody says the wrong thing or somebody reminds you of somebody you don't like or something like that. And so we've got to let all this stuff go. Uh, I think a lot of this is us trying to force the world to be the way that we want it to be or feel that it needs to be. But like if you actually think about that from an intellectual perspective, the audacity to think the world needs to be the way that you want it to be is kind of nutty. But we all do it. We all do it because we're all the main character in our stories here. So I think it's good though that as main characters we show up in other people's stories like here tonight, and we share with each other and help each other kind of break out of that. Nahal said, I truly love what you've done, Alex. Thank you. Writing on your prompts really helped me find focus and clarity. Awesome. That makes my world. We spent a lot of time on this. A lot of a lot. I mean, I definitely am on a mission here to bring journaling to the masses in whatever way that I can, and I think we found a really cool way to do it here. And you guys are on the cutting edge of all that. I think like journaling is typically a solitary activity, and somehow we've found a way to find community with it without necessarily ruining like the best one of the best parts of journaling, which is that it's private and that it's for you. So pretty cool thing we're doing. I'm glad you're a part of it. Katie accepts her anxiety. Good. Kathy says, I have to use kind words on myself and accept my humanness in it all. Yeah, and I think that's like the highest thing you can do is find acceptance. Doesn't mean you have to like it, which is tough. It's tough to accept things that you don't like, but um, you know, I think resistance is where we start to feel the anxiety. Katie is excited about your second journal. Awesome. Yeah, hopefully it gets to you quickly. We've had some issues with our fulfillment center. But fortunately, part of our initiatives for 2025, we found a new team that's going to be warehousing all of our journals and sending them out for us, and they come highly recommended. So fingers crossed. It, uh, talk about anxiety. Nothing makes me more anxious than when like I'm trying to like serve people and there's somebody else in like my machine drops the ball, but then ultimately have to take responsibility for that, right? Like I found these people, right? So we're fixing it. We're doing what we can. It is what it is. We accept it. But yeah, thanks for grabbing one of those free journals. You guys probably all seen me on the ads and stuff lately. You guys probably seen Girl Alex in them too. We have we are sending journals out to people. It hopefully it leads to a whole brigade of new party people in our little club here. But yeah, I would say over the past couple of weeks we've sent out hundreds of journals. It's crazy. So yeah, appreciate anybody for supporting. Nahal said, I need to let go of over mothering my adult kids and finally at 58 focus on me. I feel that motherhood swallowed me whole and I lost the girl that is Nahal. Yeah. Oh, so, I mean, it sounds like what you're talking about is like some inner child work. And actually, I don't know that we've ever done any programs like that. Um, I'll have to ask some of the counselors that I work with for some guidance on that. I know my therapist does that sort of work. We haven't really done a whole lot of it together, but let me see if I can support you in that. I'm sure there's a cool program we can put together for you. And he said, I like to write three things I'm grateful for every day without having to explain why. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, um, without having to explain why. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I sometimes write why and sometimes don't. I think where that can be useful is like getting into that feeling state of the gratitude. Like one thing that I notice sometimes I do when I make these lists, like gratitude or goals and stuff like that, is I'm just listing things and like I'm not actually getting in touch with them. I think that's where the real magic of all this is like actually getting your feeling state involved with things. There's some sort of alchemy with all of that. Deidre realized that anxiety is a tool. I use it to learn more about me and how I participate in the world, family, friends, work, etc. Sometimes it's not the favorite tool, but it has a purpose. Yeah, I mean it's a message. Like I think you know I can't claim to know like what everybody's got going on, and I would never try to diminish anybody's anxieties or anything that's going on in anybody's life. But I think what we're getting at here is the mechanism of like feedback within your own body and within your own mind and within your own heart. We're as human beings, we're millions and millions of years in the making. If you if you believe in that, I think it was pretty well established. But it that there's like your nervous system didn't just appear overnight. Like this is we are like the most recent versions, the most recent models of like some serious like mechanical work here, and there's a lot of power in that, and I think the flip side of that though is that like part of our programming is to just get sucked into this whole experience and to kind of like run on autopilot. We have all these really great autopilot systems, especially in your nervous system. But if you let that run away from you, then I think you kind of lose the message, and it just ends up driving you, and so you don't necessarily know what's what. But yeah, looking at it as a tool, maybe like look, I mean, sometimes it hurts to turn the screwdriver. I don't know if that was the right metaphor I was looking for, but it's like yeah, like sometimes it's hard to use our tools, but at the same time, they're there to provide us with a little bit of utility, and tuning into that feedback and being intentional with those tools is really where the goods show up. Kathy said, "Yes, I'm in the same situation. My identity has been wrapped up in being a mom, and now they're adults, so I need to find and do for me." Okay, so we got a couple of the inner child things. Let me write that down. We'll definitely do a program on that. Let's see. All right. Oh, body scans. That's cool. Tasha does body scans and meditate. And EMDR. Oh, my fiance loves EMDR. She's been trying to get me to do that for the longest time. So you got a +1 on the EMDR, Alex. Um, so maybe I'll try that out. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. I have to say, I really got in touch with one of those past celebrations called Celebrating Wins. No matter how small it may seem, I celebrate at least 3 wins when anxiety or depression hits. Yes, yes, definitely celebrate your wins. And you know, that's one of the best parts of journaling for sure. It's just that writing it down, you have a record, and so like a lot of times you'll start to tell yourself this story that you can't or that you're not good enough or whatever it is. And if you write down your wins, you can go back and you actually have a log of your progress and the all the goodness that you've had to celebrate for yourself. So definitely write down your wins. It's such an easy, quick pick me up to read through some of your own goodness there. Obviously, we don't want to get too haughty about anything, but I don't think that's what we're talking about here. So yeah, definitely write those down. All right, folks, it's 7:03 now, so I apologize, but I'm gonna have to cut this off because we've got a dinner booked here at the at the local Mexican restaurant, and I really need to take a load off after um, our exodus from Los Angeles today. So anyway, I'm really glad I got a chance to show up on here. I've missed you guys. It's been a couple weeks, and it doesn't feel the same when we don't do Journal Party Live. I'm not gonna lie. So everyone, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for showing up this evening. Thank you for constantly supporting us in this work that we're doing here, and for being the kind of people that are willing to do this kind of work. I really think that you know big change starts in small places, and not to say that we're small. I think that what we end up finding out is that we actually have a lot more influence and a lot more power within than we realize. And so, one of the things that I was thinking about lately, in terms of like missions for Journal Party, is I really, not only do I want to get a million people journaling with us, which I think we can do, but I think, my goal for all of us is to live lives that are worth writing about. And it doesn't mean that somebody else has to write your life story, because we can do it, and we can be the authors of our own stories. And I think that's a really powerful position to put yourself in. And so I'm really excited that you guys are all part of the party on this journey with me. But it's time for me to go eat some chips and salsa. So love you all. Thank you for showing up this evening, and yeah, pray for our friends and family in Los Angeles who are struggling with some of these wildfires. And I know, like, that's just some of the craziness that's going on in the world today. So everyone, if you can, please summon up some of the good juju that you collected here this evening, and find a way to broadcast it out into the collective. I think that everybody needs it right now. It feels like so. Anyway, thank you for showing up, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, wonderful rest of your week, and as always,